Good morning, gang. Here we are again. Okay. You've heard me talk about before on inflation, the lovely situations that the Biden-Harris administration has put us in. You know about the RFK going to potentially be in Trump's cabinet running HHS. It's been all over the news in the last couple of days that Trump supposedly has already promised RFK that position. We'll see, okay? I'm not the biggest fan of RFK. I don't agree with his stance on oil. I don't necessarily agree on his stance on environmentalism. But I do agree with his healthy food stance, okay, and his medical stance, no problem. You know, in regards to healthy foods, he wants to get rid of all the processed crap that is fed to the kids in school. Make America healthy again, right? We all have heard this. He also is a huge proponent in getting rid of Obamacare. I'm going to agree with that. Obamacare, the Unaffordable Care Act, is ridiculous. Why do I say this? Well, I got a nice little surprise in the mail yesterday, and maybe you guys have seen this for yourselves. I talked a week or so ago about the hikes in Medicare that are coming the first of the year. Y'all know I get my health insurance through the VA, okay? One of the perks of serving is I can go to a VA doctor. Say whatever you want about the VA. I've had, depending on where I lived, I've had good doctors, I've had bad doctors, okay? The one I have here in Tennessee, I really like. She is a really good doctor. Getting scheduled for an appointment is still a problem, but okay, it is what it is. At least I've got a good doctor. Fortunately, I'm in good health and don't need a whole lot of medical care. All right, you know, blood tests, do my annual physical, that sort of stuff, we're okay. Mrs. P, on the other hand, obviously is not a veteran. And so we have to purchase her insurance on our own. When we moved here in 2019, for the first year or so, I was still working. Well, I take it back. It was still 2021. I was still working for a company. So at that point, I was able to get her insurance through my company. All right, no problem. When we decided I was no longer going to work for somebody else and we were just going to focus on our own business, we had to buy insurance for her on our own. So in 2022, I think it was either 2021 or 2022, end of 21, beginning of 22, we purchased health insurance for Mrs. P. It was $190 a month. I think it comes with a $16,000 deductible, which is ridiculously more expensive than it was 10 years ago, because 10 years ago I was paying $180 a month. Yes, I looked this up, to cover myself, my ex, and PBJ with a $3,000 deductible. So in 10 years, it had tripled in price, if you will. Went from covering one person to covering three. And the deductible's gone up 5 times. It was $190. That went up to $320 for 2025. We're up at $220 in 2023, $260 in 2024, and it's going to be $320 in 2025. Our insurance went up $60 from $260. That's almost a 25% increase in health insurance. Mrs. P is in her mid-40s. She's in good health. The only thing she needs to do is her annual physical, her OB appointment once a year, you know, and her breast scan, every couple of years or whatever it is. That's it, okay? We now have to pay a $40 copay for every doctor's appointment, and now $320 a year, okay? That's what, nearly $4,000 for insurance for a healthy person. Now, I get it. It's insurance. You have it because if something catastrophic happens, you're covered, right? But why did her insurance go up 25%? Oh, I don't know. Could it be the 20 million freaking illegals who come into the country and are not paying any of the bills, but we have to pay for their doctors, nurses, whomever to take care of them? That's exactly where it's going. The medical facilities have to pay the bills somehow. Now, I want to give you this, and I've talked about this many times. These are things that are put into place now. Remember who's president as of right now. Remember who's vice president as of right now. But next year, when the bills go up, you know, you're going to hear all these people scream, "My insurance went up. It's all because of Donald Trump." Assuming he wins the election, right? This is the thing. The Affordable Care Act has made insurance unaffordable for people. $320 a month is a lot of freaking money, okay? If you start doing the math on this, let's say you work above a minimum wage job. Minimum wage is $7.25. Let's say you make $8 an hour. That means Mrs. P's insurance, before taxes, would cost you 40 hours of work just to insure yourself. 1/4 of your income just for insurance. For a healthy mid-40s woman with no medical problems. That's Bidenomics. That's what's on the ballot here for Kamala Harris to continue. This is why when you hear RFK going, okay, we need to make America healthy again, this is what's important. You know, y'all wonder why, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Mrs. P and I went on this carnivore diet, this keto diet, back in February to lose some weight, okay, to get healthy ourselves, to stop eating all the carbs, the processed food, etc., because the cost of medicine is prohibitively expensive. You know, hypothetically, if she goes into the hospital or I go into the hospital with any sort of medical condition, insurance will pay for it, and then we got to come up with $16,000 out of pocket. Yeah, that would be extremely painful, okay? This is why it's so important when you listen to Trump saying what he wants to change. The Department of Government Efficiency that he wants Elon Musk to do. Elon Musk said the other day, cutting $2 trillion worth of spending by the government. Now, that's not just getting rid of government employees. Government employees don't cost us $2 trillion a year. That's getting rid of a lot of the government waste. Maybe we can get into something like tort reform, which I've talked about before. Okay, a lot of you guys know what that is. You know, the fact that somebody gets awarded $10 million for spilling coffee in their lap or something, you know, frivolous lawsuits. Again, I mean, now granted, no problem with the lawsuit when, you know, guy needs his right leg amputated and the doctor takes off his left leg by accident. Yeah, he needs to be sued to high heaven. But, you know, $20 for an aspirin in the hospital, whatever. This stuff needs to change. This is what we're talking about with RFK being in the Trump administration. Let's make America healthy again. Let's get rid of all the processed food. Let's get rid of all the added sugar in everything. Let's get people back to a healthy state of living so the hospitals, so the doctor's offices aren't overwhelmed. I mean, you've got 2/3 of this country is considered overweight at this point. I mean, that's unbelievable. And why? Because they've been feeding us all this crap and we're just going to eat it. You go into the grocery store, and I mean, again, let's hit inflation. Notice that the healthy food is the expensive stuff, the stuff that people can't afford. The garbage, the junk, the highly processed, chemically infused crap is the stuff that people can afford. You know, you look at these people that are on food stamps, not everybody, okay, and don't generalize this, okay, and a lot of them are obese. Why? Because the government assistance that they get only goes so far. And there's a lot of people that, I'm not dissing people on food stamps by any means, okay? There's a lot of people that need that, and I get it, okay? Especially with Bidenflation. But the problem is, it only goes so far. And when you're getting $30 or $100 or whatever, and you've got to eat on that, you need to buy the cheap stuff. You're buying the spaghetti noodles or something that's highly processed, highly carb, low in nutrition, etc., etc. These people can't go out and buy better cuts of meat or fresh vegetables. Priced tomatoes lately, around here, they're about $5 a pound, right? For a tomato. You wonder why I say start a garden, okay? Mrs. P and I figure we save about $3,000 a year in our grocery bill because I've got a garden. Just saying, okay? Because of what we can grow on our own. If RFK is brought in to make America healthy again, to maybe collectively put this country on a diet, maybe potentially finally getting rid of Obamacare, maybe lowering the cost of insurance or doctor's visits or hospital stays. Don't tell me inflation's at 2.5%, Joe. I just watched my health insurance go up nearly 25% in 1 year. And I've watched the health insurance nearly double in your presidential term. That's 100% inflation. I don't care how you slice it. Everybody who shopped at Whole Foods and now goes to Kroger and then went from Kroger down to Walmart, went from Walmart to Aldi and went from Aldi to the food bank, there's nowhere else to go after the food bank. We can't afford all this. Housing is ridiculously expensive. Insurance is ridiculously expensive. Food is ridiculously expensive. Cars are ridiculously expensive. And the answer to all of this is not to raise the minimum wage. No, that just adds on more to inflation. What we need to do in all of this is bring the costs of those things down. We actually need deflation, okay? Saying, oh, inflation is down is a lie. The inflation rate of increase is what is down. That 2.5% that Joe's so proud of, or 3.2 or whatever it is, depending on each month, that's on top of what we had last year, on top of what we had the previous year. Grocery inflation, official numbers, is 20% higher than it was when Biden took office. What do you think is going to happen when Kamala Harris takes office? It ain't coming down. We need to bring the prices down. We need to bring the cost down. Not wages go up. Wages can stay where they are because wage inflation is another inflationary tax because it's got to get paid somewhere, okay? You pay the guy $20 to flip a burger. Guess what? Like we've seen, Now your burger cost you 10 bucks. Sorry, a Big Mac ain't worth 10 bucks. But we need to bring prices down. That's what needs to happen. Elon Musk has the right idea. RFK has the right idea. Both of them were Democrats. Both of them endorsed the candidate that wants to bring prices down, not the candidate that wants to raise inflation. Remember that when you go to the polls. Remember that when you go to the mailbox and open up your insurance bill for next year and go, holy crap, where's this money going to come from? Or your electric bill, or your phone bill, or your car payment, or your rent payment. That's all Bidenomics, Kamalanomics, and it's gotta go. Pinball out.